What happened when your teacher went on a power trip? My chemistry teacher banned all talking during lab demos because someone asked a question. Tuesday, we walked into class and found Mr. Vaughn standing at the front with his arms crossed. A new sign was taped on the demo table that said, "Silence during all demonstrations." He spent the first 5 minutes of class explaining his new rule while pacing back and forth like a drill sergeant. Any student who makes a sound during a demonstration will be sent to the principal with automatic detention. This started because on Monday, this kid Trevor raised his hand during a demo and asked if we needed to wear goggles for the next step. Mr. Vaughn stopped mid-sentence. "Did I ask for questions?" Trevor shook his head and Mr. Vaughn kept going. Real scientists observe and figure things out instead of asking to be spoon-fed every little detail. The whole class just sat there stunned because it was literally a safety question. From that point on, Mr. Vaughn acted like he was guarding nuclear secrets instead of teaching high school chemistry. Wednesday, he stopped his entire lecture on chemical bonds to send a girl to the principal because she coughed. Thursday morning, he kicked out 2 guys for whispering about last night's homework assignment while he arranged beakers on his demo table. By Friday, we were all terrified to make a single sound during his demonstrations. We sat quietly while watching him mix chemicals and explain reactions, even though we could not understand half of what he was teaching. He rushed through everything, and we were not allowed to ask anything. People were failing quizzes left and right because they missed crucial information, but nobody wanted to risk getting detention for asking a question. That weekend, my lab partner and I were texting about how crazy the situation was. One of us had the idea to start passing notes during demos. Monday morning when we tried it, Mr. Vaughn saw us sliding paper back and forth but didn't say anything because technically we were not talking. By Wednesday, half the class was passing notes during every demonstration. Mr. Vaughn seemed happy about it because he thought we were taking amazing notes about his brilliant teaching. Really, we were writing things like, "Did you see which bottle he grabbed?" and "That beaker looks really hot." The notes became our way of warning each other about dangerous stuff since we could not talk about safety. Thursday, I watched him place a lit burner about 6 inches from a stack of worksheets. I scribbled a note and passed it to the girl next to me, who casually reached over and moved the papers before they caught fire. Mr. Vaughn never noticed. Wednesday afternoon, everything went wrong during a demonstration on chemical reactions. Mr. Vaughn was setting up a demo showing that when you mix certain chemicals, they make colored smoke. I had read ahead in the textbook over the weekend because I was tired of being confused. I knew which chemicals he was supposed to use for this demo. He picked up the wrong ones from the storage cabinet. The labels looked almost identical from far away. I wrote "wrong chemical" on a small piece of paper and tried to pass it to the front row, but Mr. Vaughn was moving too fast. He had already poured the first chemical into the beaker and was starting to pour from the second bottle. The mixture in the beaker started turning dark and making smoke. The textbook said, "Mixing these 2 specific chemicals makes a violent reaction that causes bad burns." The note still hadn't made it to the front of the class. Mr. Vaughn had his back turned while he wrote about molecular bonds on the board, so he had not noticed his mixture was going very wrong. The beaker was turning black, and I could see it starting to bubble at the bottom. I realized there was no possible way the note would reach the front before the beaker exploded, so I stood up and screamed, "You grabbed the wrong bottle! It's about to explode!" Mr. Vaughn spun around and looked at the beaker as it was about to start bubbling over. He grabbed the beaker with metal tongs and ran to the chemical shower. He threw the whole thing into the shower basin and slammed the handle down. Water and foam erupted everywhere, just as the mixture released a massive cloud of black smoke that filled the shower stall. The kids in the front row stared at where the beaker had been and realized they almost got seriously burned. Mr. Vaughn turned and looked at me. "How did you know that was the wrong chemical?" I told him I read ahead because I could not understand demos when we were not allowed to ask questions. He looked at the class. "How many of you felt unsafe during my demonstrations?" Every single hand went up. "We've been passing notes to warn each other about dangerous stuff because we were too scared to talk." Mr. Vaughn sat down at his desk and put his head in his hands. When he looked up, he said, "I almost hurt you guys because I was too proud to admit I could mess up." He canceled the silence rule right there.